Peace, family. How you doing? Sorry, I'm couple minutes late. I'm a timely person. I like to be on time, but I was so into just looking up little factoids about Octavia Butler and her writing. I've read a couple of her books and enjoyed them. However, I know I have to go back and reread them because my whole mindset is different. So what just flew under the radar, and during my days when I believed all the lies that white folks were telling us, we're not at this point in time. And then my absolute, like, I'm so through with them being in charge of our destiny. I could spit us a whole new nation if it were possible. So, greetings, King.
Peace, family. What's going on? What's going on? This is kind of fly by pants, spur of the moment type of thing.
Oh, yeah.
So I was, I watched him a while. I think last week I watched the show, but it was vaguely interesting from a cultural perspective and programming perspective, and just I'm always interested in cinema and what happens in cinema. I mean, TV is cinema too. It's just short stories basically, or more like reels. They go on and on and on and on. They used to call those the serials back in the movie in the 40s and 50s, with the cliffhangers every week. They go to the movie theater and watch the serials.
Oh, right.
You would go to there was no TV. You would go to the movies. You would watch Zorro and Batman and Superman. All these little shorts, little 20-minute clips. And come back next week and see the other part.
Right, because it costs a nickel.
That's what the series. They was usually in the matinee. The kids would come and watch them, or they cut school and go watch them, and they watch these serials. You know what I mean? Next week you'll find out what happens to Penelope. Of course, it's a half hour, and they spend like the first 10 minutes recapping the previous episode.
Right.
So you only got like 16, 17 minutes worth of story in each episode. What happened to our hero previously?
And it's always a cliffhanger.
Because they got to catch everybody up. They didn't come last week. We try to get some, because I got to catch you up. It's like the comic books. They'll spend like a few minutes. They'll recap the previous issue because they don't know who's coming in. A lot of people coming in the middle. Right. They want to get you on the hook so you come back next week. Right. That's why they do the recaps. To catch you up. It's a story. We're expanding the story. We're trying to make the story more deliberate so people can understand it. No, we're trying to get new people, to come follow this and serial.
Keep going and keep getting us some money.
Exactly, because to advertise. Yeah, no doubt. You sell the cereals, yeah.
No, I do enjoy, and as you know, I'll be watching all them Korean dramas because I can't stand how many insults are in the white produced ones. And the ones that they pretend are black produced and ain't nothing but some boule friggin', what do you call anyway, Anglo-Saxon Negroes.
Afro-Saxon,
that was it. That's what you called it. But so I enjoy the ability to delve deeper into the psychology of the characters and the historical backdrop more now at this point in time than I do just a easily and quickly wrapped up 2-hour movie, which has to just cut out a lot of the motivations and just the background of the characters, so that so you don't understand the character development as well. However, I admire your strength because I just don't have it to watch this crap. I'm just going to say that because that's what it is to me. As soon as I see the programming is so over the top these days that I'm too emotional, and I'm going to get angry. I'm going to get hurt watching when I just know Black love, Black families. If it had crashed and disappeared, they would be writing in the papers about whatever happened to all them Black people. No more Black babies are being born anywhere. And so when I see these things that they're just ad nauseum pushing, I had wanted to do a share that I probably won't do now that we're doing this, where I was just like, this movie will not make you pregnant.
What movie?
I'm not talking about Kindred,
I know that.
but I'm just saying entertainment in general. We have, I'm looking and I'm like, they can't stop our rise. They can't stop us from falling in love with what we were made to be and who we were made to be. So the concept that they're going to just force into us this idea that we don't want to be together because they're going to ad nauseum throw these interracial movies, commercials, everything at us. All they're doing is making the programming more obvious.
Well, they know they can't. They don't want to. They know they can't stop it because that's an impossibility. What they want to do is delay it to make it that you've been through so much damage that you can damn near not even recover from the damage that you inflicted upon yourself with that culture, that ideology. That's really what the goal is. All right, we just got to delay your ass. We ain't got to stop you.
Right.
We delay you to the point where you too old and toothless to do anything about it. Right now, you delayed all the fire. We done burnt all the fire out. You worked you out. You know what I'm saying? You done gave all your soul to the. You sold your soul to the company store. You done broke your back in the mind, and now you can go be black.
Right.
Be revolutionary from your armchair when you can't do nothing. They know that.
I realized I probably would have had 3 children, but I just had the one.
I'm saying they understand. We just want to delay. This is delay in action. They can't stop the end. They can sure enough delay it. Just confuse the next few that coming up. Even if not their whole lives, 20, 30 years in Negroism, man, that's a good jump. That's a good jump on you.
Right. Where you just are worshiping, believing the, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, is a way to get real love and all kinds of things that mess you up.
Come on. They ain't stupid. They crazy. They ain't that stupid. They are stupid, but they ain't that crazy. They do some stupid stuff, but as far as handling Negroes, they know y'all because Negroes come from them. They know how to handle themselves. They know how to control themselves. I mean, to control their activities of themselves for the most part. And that's what they made Negroes for, because in their image. You know what I'm saying? I made niggas in my image, so I know what to do with them. You know what I mean? So I ain't no big deal. But like I said, it's a delay in action because delay is important too. Delay is critical too. All right. If I can disrupt you at certain times, I can set you back 5, 10, 15, 30 years. Right. If I can lock you up between the age of 14 and 19, I can destroy 20 years of your life. Because that's a big gap to be gone from anywhere, especially at that developmental age. You can come back and be jammed up for another 10, 15 years. Right. Just because you missed that education at those 4 or 5 years. All right. So, hey, don't think this ain't no accident here. You got to be deliberate to stay in control or attempt to be controlled. You got to have some deliberation about you. All right. They need, they know the OCD thing. A, B, C, they know that part. They got that part down pat. You know what I'm saying? As far as the step by step, that's how they work. They put the numbers on the ground so they can do the dance. All right, you just doing it to the rhythm, but they got a whole plan. 1, 2 foot over here. You know what I'm saying? Everything.
Right. Even for the stragglers.
I'm saying, like I said, even if something as simple as dance, they'll put the pattern on the floor.
Right.
So to control the people, of course, they're going to have a pattern. They're going to stick to the script.
That makes such sense.
All right, because that's how their brains work.
Right.
All right. So that's what you're dealing with. Now, to Octavia Butler. All right. In this book she wrote called Kindred. All right. Now, the book and the movie are different, as is the case most of the times. This is an adaptation. This show on Hulu is an adaptation of the book. All right. The book is meant to be set, and this story is meant to be set by Octavia in 1976, which is a total different planet.
That's true. Than
it is 2022, where they have this one set in 2016. All right, so that's literally 40 years later, right? So there's a 40-year gap between how Octavia set up Kindred versus how Hulu's setting up Kindred. Whoever's adapting it now. Right. So there's going to be differences right there. All right. Most of them for the worst, because what they do, they rip all the honesty out of everything.
Yes, and they have their agendas that they infest everything.
Because you look at black cinema in 1976, it was hardcore. There was no faggots. You know what I'm saying? Screw them crackers. We taking this joint over. Even the exploitation movies were like that.
Right.
All right. Right. So it was a whole different, all that crossover shit. You know what I'm saying?
Watching Taxi Driver.
Yeah.
That wouldn't have been allowed now.
Yeah. It's a whole. Yeah, I mean,
Right,
like I said,
right.
black cinema was totally different back then.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? But looking at Octavia and her writings, I don't think she even wrote this for black people
No, she didn't.
because she
didn't.
was isolated from black people
Mm.
in her career. Most of her career, she was most of her adult life. You know what I mean? And I'm sure she was isolated even if she was in the hood because remember she was 6 foot something as a kid.
And I read a brief synopsis of her life, and she was painfully shy.
I bet she was, because she was called the doofus, all that type of stuff like that. You're young and you're awkward. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got no pretty hair and no pretty eyes.
Well, even before that, I'm talking about when she was her father died when she was 7, and she was raised exclusively by her mother and her grandma, and she would go with her mom, who was a housemaid, to clean white people's houses. And reportedly, of course, we know it's true, her mother was treated abysmally.
Yeah, she the help.
Yeah, and so
not the help like that stupid movie a few years ago. The help like 1976 help.
So Octavia was always awkward and shy, even before she gained all her height.
Okay.
And she grew up in California.
That's right.
And she was always interested in writing from early on. She started writing little stories.
Escapism.
Yeah, she saw the Devil Came from Mars movie, and it was one of those B-grade movies, and she just said to herself, I could write this. Yeah, I could do this. I could write something better. So she had her mom, begged her to get her a little Remington typewriter. She got it, and she started writing stories, and she joined it was a club, and it was actually a black club,
a sci-fi club.
Yeah, no, it wasn't originally a sci-fi club. It was just, black people who were writing, and they recommended to her, one of the teachers, probably a white person, said that she should join the sci-fi club, which she did. And so, she never wrote specifically geared towards black people or even black power, which is like part of
hell no, definitely not.
The quote that I hopefully I had it highlighted. Right here it was. Butler, let's see now, there we go. She wrote Kindred as an answer specifically to the Black Power movement, which was criticizing previous generations of black people for being subservient to whites.
That's from Wikipedia.
Yeah.
And she wanted to show that
they were courageous.
They were courageous, being subservient. It was that's like I said. That's going into Kanye West territory with that one. I ain't going in that right now. Either side I'm talking about. Either side is like
it's dicey. It's very complicated.
I mean, there's a way to explain that, of course, but we ain't here for that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So let's we hear about this book.
All right.
I'm not even venturing into that one right now.
Okay.
You gotta know when to talk about stuff, then I'm putting that aside. That's gonna take us way off course.
Okay.
All right. Because everybody got an opinion about that type of stuff. Yeah, so she wrote this book in 1970s. This was set in 1970. I don't know if she published it in 1976 or maybe after. I don't know when she published the book. Maybe in the 80s, I think she published Kindred in the early 80s. But anyway, she's an interesting character. And you read, like I said, you can see that she didn't write it for you. She was really appealing to a white audience. That's all I'm trying to say. The sci-fi audience was predominantly white male, really.
That's true.
Remember who come from the sci-fi audience? Who came out of sci-fi? L. Ron Hubbard. He was a sci-fi writer. You know what I'm saying? That's when his stuff coming in. So there was a whole crew of matter. Who else come out of sci-fi?
Well, I can't remember. I read lots of it, but I can't remember the titles of the author. Like Philip K. Dick.
Yeah. Also, his teacher, the guy who blew himself up, he came out of. That's what he came out of sci-fi. The one that was Delimar, dude. Jack, the guy that was working under Aleister Crowley, who was working with L. Ron Hubbard, was also a sci-fi guy.
Oh, you were talking about.
I can't remember his name right now, but this is the click. That's the key dude right there. He was an astrophysicist. I think he was an astrophysicist, but he also was a bomb maker. Yeah, he did. I mean, he did a lot of stuff with jet propulsion. Yeah, jet propulsion. That's what he was dealing with. So he dealt with, explosive materials. Anyway, but yeah, that whole sci-fi area, that whole sci-fi clique, that's an interesting clique to analyze. If you go from the 30s on up to the 70s to the 60s, you would be amazed by who coming out of that
you can
area.
think of Orwell and Kurt Vonnegut as also science fiction of a certain type. And Orwell, and who was the other guy who wrote 1984? No, that was Orwell. There was another one though. Who
you talking about? Who wrote no, that's Orwell. Never mind.
Yeah, but anyway, there were a lot of them who were key figures. That
H.G. Wells.
No, I'm not thinking of H.G. Wells. I'm thinking of another one who was on par with Orwell.
Not H.G. Wells?
No, it wasn't H.G.
All the Worlds?
No, it wasn't H. He was more modern. But anyway, they're often
the satanic dude?
No, not satanic. But anyway, I just want to move on to the point. But overall, they're noted as predicting these modern times.
Oh yeah, like the guy who wrote For All Mankind. I know you're talking about.
Yeah,
like that.
Stranger in a Strange Land.
Yeah. That was a whole genre.
Right,
literally.
Right.
Yeah.
Where it's almost it's like predictive programming, but also they were involved in these inner sanctums.
Yes.
Where they were, like you said, like the dance, they were planning step by step.
Yeah, that's right. Because whatchamacallit was in one of those groups before he even broke off. Curly was in one of those groups before he broke off. A couple of them.
Oh.
From the late 1800s. They had a bunch of little clubs like that.
Yes. I had no idea. They had so many of them.
The Golden Dawn. They had a bunch of little.
Even the mystery of the Black Dahlia.
Yeah.
I turned out that her killer was all up in that sort of. And
look where that was placed.
What?
That's Delibon. That's California.
Right.
That's Scientology. That's all in that clique.
Right.
That's where that came from. Anton LaVey came he was a late comer. I'm talking about when Black Dahlia, I think, was in the 30s or the 40s, right? Yeah, that's when all that stuff was going on. I forgot the name of that group. You gotta go if you watch my shit I did on L. Ron Hubbard. That'll give you that's the group and that's the names that was going on right there. Go watch my shit I did on L. Ron Hubbard.
On 25,000 Psycho Family.
Yeah, on my YouTube channel. Watch that one. Then you get a little background on that clip. But wow, that's much more interesting. You sure you want to talk about it? We got to talk about Kindred.
I know, but I want to.
I'm sorry, Kindred. This back to Kindred.
Kindred.
Octavia Butler. Now, like I said, the book is not like the modern adaptation. All right, so there are some differences that I guess we can go into in the storyline. It's I mean, I said it wasn't all bad. It makes you want to watch it. Put it like this. It's compelling enough to want to watch it. You know what I'm saying? But then you have to go, remember, we going into these old slave narratives again. You know what I mean? And that's really the reason. Let's just give it real. That's the reason why they chose this book for that adaptation. Because ever since 12 Years a Slave, there's been this desire to just push this slave narrative back out again and back out again and back out again. And say, niggas go pay for this. You know what I'm saying? So you got this one, you got the Harriet Tubman thing, you got Nate Parker's movie, and they just going slave to death. And so now they're going to hit you with the ultimate slave trip, which is Kindred. Because this is a two-way slave trip. This is a modern slave trip and a past slave trip. You know what I'm saying? So this is an interesting juxtaposition they got here in Kindred. Because this sister is existing in the present and the past at the same time, like many of us are. Quiet is kept. But that's why it's interesting from a science fiction or a storyline standpoint that she jumps from the present to the past. All right. So this woman whose picture here is Dana. She is the main protagonist, I guess you would call her, all right?
Spoiler alert, by the way.
Yeah, we got some spoilers. You can go watch it. I ain't no spoiler alert because, well, I might spoil it because I got the book. But anyway, I can't spoil the storyline for you. They got another season coming up.
Oh, okay.
So it's not over yet.
Yeah,
it's not over yet.
Okay.
All right. So there's no spoiler alerts really other than the end of the season, which ain't telling you nothing anyway. But Dana is the main protagonist. She is a young lady from Brooklyn that whose grandmother dies, and she gets the brownstone, and she sells the brownstone, and she moves to LA to be a writer. All right, because she wants to write, and she is LA is the place to do it. All right, so she moves to LA. Who's out there? Her aunt is out there, which is the mother of the sister of her mother, who died in 1996 in a car accident. Of course, presently it's 2016. All right. So Dana's a young lady. She obviously was a child when her mother died. All right. So her aunt is her only family right now. Her aunt and her aunt's husband, who was an ex-cop, LA cop, black people, you know what I mean? So she moves out there, and they are not that happy to see her. All right. So they have dinner. They have dinner, and it ends poorly. All right. She gets a lift home by the waiter.
So there's automatic friction between her and
her
the
family.
Only thing that holds her to blackness.
Exactly. Exactly. So she gets a lift home by the waiter, who's this white boy who just offered a ride home. All right. And blah, blah, blah. She gets home. I mean, we can get to other stuff. But ultimately, she gets home, falls asleep, and wakes up in another room. And in this room, there's a woman, there's a crib, and there's a woman that comes in.
Black woman?
And, well, you can't see that, but you can't really tell because it's a TV show. So it's not like they're going to give you that straight shot. But anyway, this woman puts that child on his stomach and walks out the room. All right. Dana gets up, turns the child over, and attempts to walk out of the room, and she sees two women, a black woman and a white woman, speaking to each other by candlelight. It's candlelight. All right. One is warning the other one about such and so, and gotta be quiet because such and such might get up and whip both of us and blah, 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 something like that. No, it's not. And Dana announces herself, and who the hell? They see her come out. They say, "Who is this? Who is this?" They try to know. They don't know who she is. And so she confronts them, and they seem to attack her, and she screamed, and she wakes up at home in her bed in 1996. All right, so that's how the thing starts. Okay, so she didn't realize. She thought she was dreaming, of course. She don't realize what happened. Now, ultimately, I don't know if I should go into the whole storyline.
No, I don't think you should break down the whole.
Yeah, I'm not. But I'm just giving you the grudge. I'm just trying to get to how this thing started up. All right. So after that, she's the only one she know in God. So she wakes up. She's
the only one she knows where.
I'm going to that.
Oh, okay.
She wakes up and she just thinks it's a dream. Remember, she's in LA, new house, nothing in it, and she ain't got no car. Now, anybody live in LA know you got to have a car. So she don't know nobody with a car except this waiter, this white boy. Yeah. So she contacts him on Tinder. She finds him on Tinder. And
how pathetic.
Yeah. It's funny because she's going through Tinder. When she's going on Tinder, just looking at guys, and she goes past four talented black guys, about two or three talented black guys to go on this waiter that she met.
It's previously. Like, I'm sorry, the swirlers. How pitiful you are.
My point to say all of this is that, but let's go on it. So she calls him, she picks him and takes him on, drives him around so she can get some things for the house. You know what I mean? She buys, this, that, some things, a bed, she spends a lot of money. All right.
So she has money.
Yeah, she has money because remember, she sold the brownstone. She flush with cash. That's why she bought the house.
Right.
All right. She flush with cash. That's why she bought the house. Yeah, so she flush with cash, so she don't care. All right, so ultimately they go home, and lo and behold, what happens between the two of them? Lo and behold, like I just met you. I'm gonna just bam, wham, bam. You in? You drove me around.
No
you
questions.
in? That's That's like bringing an Uber driver home and smashing them. Like, oh, that was such a good ride. I'm gonna give you another ride. So you invite the Uber driver into your house, and you go. So no, this is supposed to be. They're supposed to be. So they supposed to spend that day was supposed to be them getting to know each other and becoming intimate with each other. You know, what I'm saying, blah blah blah, forming a bond, basically. All right. That's what that was supposed to be about. Ultimately, in other words, same old BEDWENCH stuff. That's where the BEDWENCHery started popping in. Because Octavia Butler when she wrote it, Dana and the white dude were married and moved to LA.
Yeah, no, that's too much. That's
that's what she wasn't that damn loathing. Octavia was not so self-loathing that she would even introduce that type of scenario, because she knows the resounding effects of introducing that type of scenario into the minds of the people. See, she had more respect for her readers than to even let white people think that you just gonna get something the first day. See, because that's a dangerous precedent to set, even in a book.
Exactly. It's not, and they're presenting like it's a trivial, lighthearted. Don't pay any attention to it. And it's not. It's gigantic. What kind of a woman are you that you have no value for your own sacredness? That's someone who's a trifling. That's someone who you're still just a slave for any non-black man walking out there who's just going to offer you a compliment, a ride.
Exactly.
What? Are you serious?
Give me a break. So in other words, so that's why I'm like, okay, here come the bed. It's the BEDWENCHery. That's all it is. So they just said what they do is what they just did with that. They ruined the whole premise of the show already. All right? Because now we show you what this is about. It's lonely, you get validation. You passing up 2 or 3 brothers to get validation from some lame old white boy.
Right.
Waiter, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Of course, he got a little talent. He could play music, and he's such an interesting white man. Yeah, if you're white, you see he's interesting.
Right, exactly.
If you're a white woman, he's an interesting white man. But you're supposed to be from Brooklyn and all this stuff.
And you're a writer. And so your expected level of conversation is just going to be...
She's a horrible writer, obviously.
Well, if she's that desperate, but when you look at these equations, you can easily then analyze the psychology of the characters involved. Because one of the things that I know with my connection with you is I can talk to you about everything. And I used to have a problem because I describe myself as a crunchy-headed type of person. That's who I am. It's my personality. And I would try to be with those who just couldn't keep up with me. You keep up and pass me by. I have to run to keep up with you. And so it's a wonderful interaction. And that's it's full of life and interest and so many things. But when you're with somebody and they're because there's wonderful people who are waiters, people who wait tables, and they have other
job.
things.
It's the interest.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to.
Somebody is totally vacuous. So
yes, you can't have a full life. And then when you add the black and white factors in there, this would be a white man who would be incapable, if there is even an existent white man who can analyze what happens to us on a level that even a completely deluded Octavia Butler would have been able to manage.
And that's what she tried to do in her book. But these people so arrogant, they didn't even deal with it at all. Like, it's not an issue in 2016.
Right.
Like, that ain't no issue in 2016.
Right. And like, it's not
like that ain't no
issue.
No, like, exactly. That's my point. They try to act like it ain't no issue.
Right.
When it's still an issue. All right. So by not recognizing, not even acknowledging the juxtaposition of the same scenario over these 200 years, you show how lousy your writing is. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or how cowardly you are in your adaptation. So what are you writing this for? All right.
I gotta go to the chat room, and hopefully someone, because neither my king nor I have actually
I know what happened in the book though. I didn't
oh,
read the
you
whole
do?
book. Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I was just wondering, is this a situation where because
it's an adaptation. It's like watching Game of Thrones and reading Game of Thrones.
Yes,
but it's not as close.
That I know, but the thing
it's not
is,
as close as the movie as Game of Thrones is from the book. It's further away.
Well, but it's not the adaptation part that I want to address. It is the likelihood part. It is because you were saying she has no family, and in this book it doesn't address the fact that she is exiting her blackness out of existence by entering this marriage with this dynamics of nationhood that are beyond the individual.
But she was like, but like we said before, she wasn't writing that for us. She was writing it for them.
But
so you glossed that,
But
so.
we're doing this analysis.
No, I'm just saying. But that part, I know, but you're talking about as far as the husband part, that was in Octavia's book, not in Screen.
No, but that's like a small part of what I'm addressing.
But even she tried to deal with that in her book, in the current tense as well as the past tense.
Oh, how?
Just as far as the difficult, because remember, this is a book. She had a chance to bring them together and show you how they really got together and what they had in common and whatever. You know what I mean? So she dealt with it that way through character development.
Yes, but that's two people.
I'm not saying it's right and exact. I'm not saying, but I'm just saying Octavia tried to bring it together through character development. They did not even bother with all of that.
Well, I'm not concerned. I'm looking at what Octavia wrote, which is impossible because of the dynamics of nation. Biracial children are going to overwhelmingly relate and want to identify with their white parent. And thereby, no matter if it's in the book or if it's in the show, and you could see how they've even denied the character in the show her honorability as a woman, so that she's just having a protracted booty call. Altogether, getting with these people, you are bowing down to them. You are appeasing their need to see you in a diminished light. And thereby, further along the line of integration with these people, they have the nerve to present a book where the woman is being treated as just basically a tidbit.
Well, that's the whole. Well, then I ain't got nothing to talk about. That's the whole movie.
Sorry about that. What? Okay. We were having slight. But that's
the whole story, man. You
peace, Sister Valerie. It's so good to see you.
Yeah, well, anyway, I hear where you're coming from. Cause that's what the whole hook of the story is. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Slavery today, we still doing the same things, but look how we dealt with it in slavery. These people were honorable, and she went back there she ended up going back there for an honorable thing, saving her ancestor.
Oh.
Who ended up being a white boy.
Oh my God.
She being called back to the past over and over and over to save this white boy. So she takes on herself. I gotta save his name was Rufus. I gotta save Rufus so my line is assured.
Oh my God. So you saving the rapist.
Exactly. So I gotta save this white man. So it's the magical Negro.
Oh my God.
It pops up whenever he's in distress to save her life. To save his life. And she's doing out of duty to her current path. So my future is assured. I got to save this cracker.
A future that will be wiped out of existence.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Black as she is, no. Obviously, that white future was wiped out of existence.
No. She ain't black enough because the biracial child, if they had one,
like I said,
would pick a white person.
True, but like I said, there's no. You're talking about genealogy now. So
no, I know
that, but these are not direct lineages.
What do you mean?
You talk about genealogy; these are not necessarily direct lineage. Most of these are not direct lineages. When you going down generation, they're not direct lineages.
Okay, you have to explain.
By virtue of mama got another husband, brothers, all this stuff. This causes genetic diversity.
Oh,
so they all spread out.
Well,
so there's no straight link to no white boy.
Yeah, I know.
It's burnt out.
Right,
obviously, God, thank God, unless you start marrying into them, it's
But
burnt out.
that's what they're
Yeah.
what they're
I know that
embedding
exactly.
in our
But
minds
you know the ones now, they're trying to marry into that.
Yeah.
So they're trying to in their diversity.
Yes.
We were never trying to end our diversity. We always want to be with ourselves.
Right.
So we were always obliterating that gene.
Right.
Even if there was something like that in the history, that white boy was being obliterated generation after generation, cross-pollination and vertical pollination, because you marrying away, your brothers and sisters are marrying away from it. They're having babies, you marrying away from it. That's what's going on.
Right.
So you're actually breeding the genetic defect back out. Away from the gene. That's what you're doing.
Hallelujah.
All right.
Yeah.
So we don't get it twisted. You get it twisted. You get messed up when you start breathing into that. That's when you obliterate yourself. All right. That aberration, whether it's a blip or child, that's an aberration.
And one of the differences is that in the past, the white rapist, and even if he was like, and the rare one or two white people who stuck around, they were overwhelmed by our Black society. And so you didn't just, and also the segregation was very beneficial in that regard.
No doubt.
Because it limited those who were yearning. That's what this whole integration and sleep with white people and that's going to fix them type of mentality is all about, is that they knew there was this part of us inside that desperately needed their acceptance, their approval. So they're taking advantage of that kernel that still believes that there's something wrong with being Black.
Yeah. But you also can't assume, because you got light-skinned people in your family, there's a rapist at the end of the chain. Because we have genetic variation also, naturally.
That's true.
That's how you get all these different skin tones in the first place. Everybody wasn't raped and got light-skinned. That's not how it worked. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's a genetic aberration that might pop up, or error, and cold, and boom, you just get a little lighter.
Right.
Or you're never going to get darker.
Right.
All right. But you can't get lighter as a genetic aberration. All right. So everybody is like, even in your family, you might have brothers, siblings that are some are lighter than the others. You can see that. I come from a big family. I see that everybody ain't got different daddies and mamas.
Right.
Not like today.
My brother is slightly lighter skinned.
Like I said, so you get aberrations within that genetic stock or that material. All right. So you got to bear that in mind also. And my mother, neither my mother or my father would be considered light skinned.
Yeah. No.
But I have siblings that are lighter that might be considered light skinned.
And everybody Black.
Yeah. I mean, now they all just Black, but I'm saying they might have been considered light skinned by us.
Right.
Because we know Black, and we know you hot here. You yellow. Not even hot. You yellow. You piss color. You know how we do. But anyway, yeah. So just on that note, just remember that. So my point is that there's a lot of mythology in the story, both stories, because they're depending on you not to be knowledgeable of genetics, which most people are not.
Right.
Lineage, which most people are not, and basic history, which most people are not. So that's what the sci-fi depends on, because this is considered science fiction.
Right.
So you take the ignorance of the writer, and it's going to be propelled into the whole story. Now, so the situation Octavia was living, isolated from white people and Black people, is reflective in her writing. And remember, she's writing to her client base, not you. Nobody was walking around with an Octavia Butler book. I'm far as in the hood, they wasn't walking around with them books.
I know, and even when I came across her literature, it's just completely by accident, walking through Barnes and Noble science fiction.
You must have seen a picture.
Like, no, I'd never seen a picture. I'd never heard of her. And I had to have been like maybe 21 or something. And all of a sudden I call across and I find this one book and I'm like, wait a minute, this is written by a Black woman. Oh my God. And then because I'd always read science fiction and fantasy. And so I read it. And for years, like maybe it was 10 years before I ran into another Black person. I never heard of her.
I didn't even see it coming up from the Black bookstores as being promoted.
Yeah. So,
and that was when Black books was big in the late 80s, early 90s. Black books was big. I didn't see her stuff being promoted.
And
like that.
Of the books I've read that of hers, the Black woman is always just sort of leaving. The Black community is not a character, not a feature. The Black family is not a character, not a feature in her writing. It's always that one Black woman who's making a foray into some unknown territory.
Exactly, because that's what she's spent her life doing.
Exactly.
That's why her books are like that. What she writes, you write about what you know, or you think you know. All right. So she can take that into science, because this might as well be science fiction as far as she's concerned.
That's true.
That I made it in this world. I'm quote unquote made it in this society. That's science fiction.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? For somebody from the hood. Almost, you know. But anyway, I'm sorry.
Well, she grew up, actually, it was an integrated community.
I know she wasn't like from the hood, but she was poor black. She was poor black.
She was poor. Her mom was amazing.
Exactly. So let's keep it real. Yeah, it's science fiction. The life she lived up living was science fiction.
Right. And I find it interesting, and there's many details that none of us know, but I still find it interesting that she never married herself. I'm not saying married herself as in this.
She never got married. Yeah.
She never got married.
No.
And she died at 58, reportedly from a stroke. And judging from her stature, and her girth, she wasn't overweight, but she was a large sister.
Yeah.
I would say, if she had, just judging from how she had to write a whole book to defend, bowing down to massa, I'm thinking to myself that she might have had a yearning for white men, but they never.
Of course, or white women. She had a yearning for both. She couldn't get with either one of them.
Yeah, I didn't read anything.
Well, I know about it. Yes, she did. She tried white women, but she had no more success with them than white men.
Oh,
that's all that's happened. That's what happened.
Wow.
So her isolation was twofold. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Yes, they don't tell you about that probably. Yeah, that's what happened to her. Yeah, she tried to dip and dab, but she couldn't get no dip.
Dang.
She couldn't get no dab. Whatever, it didn't work out for her.
Wow. Okay. Whoa. Of
course, she was living that white life. Of course, she went there.
Yeah, that's true. Turtle Island. Yeah.
No, it's college theme.
Yeah,
it's college.
And white people are so progressive.
Yeah, so she tried to dyke life. That's right, but didn't suit her either. They didn't like her. They didn't want her. All right. So So wow, this story is so bad.
Yeah, I'm looking at your notes, and
no, this is just
okay.
Yeah, but anyway, it's preposterous they would even present this as 2023 as a serious analysis of her work. That's how silly it is. It's just even more preposterous that they insert this white progressive agenda in it with the white boy. Because remember, he's the white progressive. He don't understand, because ultimately he gets dragged back to her in time with her. Because if you hold her while she's transporting, you go with her. So her white boyfriend, who is called Kevin, and it was her husband in the book, of course. A white boyfriend named Kevin is, of course, represent the woke white progressive.
Oh my God!
And he's dragged back there with her.
Oh, is that
so? He has to imitate her massa in order for her to get.
Insane.
So he's conveniently there to imitate her massa, so she can have freedom to move around like she want on a plantation.
Wow! They say it's slave play.
Yeah, exactly.
It's slave play.
Exactly. So she gets it's preposterous, you know what I mean? And he's getting offended by all these things that they're talking. They're saying nigger too much, and oh my God.
Oh my God. So he gets to prove I could be your hero, black woman.
My sensibilities are assaulted by the stench of this era.
Oh my God.
He's supposed to be 18, 15.
Wow.
Of course, Nana is still is liberal now, so she's a feminist now. So she go down there with that black feminist agenda down there. That black feminist agenda don't work today.
I know, exactly.
These white boys, these white feminists will bounce your ass down the road.
They don't care.
Just like the white lesbians have been bouncing the black lesbians down the road from jump. All right. So you still second class. You could be a black feminist second class. You can black lesbian second class.
Well, they've just changed the methods of racism so that we are playing catch up to recognize them and send the clarion out that this is racism. Just the fact that they are hounding us with this interracial agenda. If you love the black woman so much, and then also with Twitch, who committed suicide surrounded by Becky's, and now they're putting out all of these freaking black men with white women. Allegedly. Yeah.
We know these Beckys.
But now they're putting out all these different stories. There's some news reporters who she's white, he's black, and he, I think, left his wife for her. But the fact that they are nonstop, all black people You're too black. If you're with another black person, you need to be with a non-black person. They even had somebody saying, oh, it was the New York Post that said,
you got to smooth out the edges with another race. Smooth out the black edges.
Yes. But the New York Post has said, oh, look at Joe Biden. He's picked a judge who she's married to a white man. And then all of his other, like his political spokesperson.
Didn't Bush do the same thing? Didn't Bush do the same thing?
Oh,
Clarence Thomas is married to a white woman.
Yes. It's like, that's racism. That's racism. You got a bunch of bed-bucking Negroes out there who are perfectly willing to just destroy you.
I'm just saying, Clarence is a coon because that happened to him, but she's a savior. She's a savior because it happened to her.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
What's going on here? It's the same scenario, but hey.
Yeah,
we can't. Like I said, that arena is in there lies madness. Dealing with them politicians, that's madness. That's
And I'll run into comments from conservative white folks and racist white folks who say, "Look at all of these movies where they're pushing interracialism," and they'll act like we're doing this to ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
While at the same time, they hide voices like yours and mine and all of the others who are sane enough to recognize, no, pink people, go do you.
Yeah.
Go love on yourself. I ain't mad at you because you a white woman, you love a white man.
Yeah.
They'll just, this is the new racism. And they'll hide it. And also even, I was shocked when they removed my book, Furnace of Affliction, from off of Amazon. And what troubles me is we kind of a little bit need them to promote something in order to feel like this is for me. Because I've got genuinely pro-black science fiction literature and a book that gives you remedies to save you from radiation contamination and trying to convince our people that, wait a minute, if you went out and you bought Octavia Butler, there ain't no excuse for not buying Achilles Shabazz.
Yeah, but who produces that? No, there's no excuse. No. Penguin Books got Octavia Butler, though.
Yeah, exactly. And they gave her $1 million.
Or whoever, you know what I'm saying? But whoever book publishing company. Because remember, the same people on the book publishing company own the television, they own the network. And they own the movie company and the newspaper.
Right.
So, all one thing. So when you see Michelle Obama got a new book come out and she's on a certain network, guaranteed the network she owns the publishing company to her book.
Wow.
All right. So
Wow.
this is not organic sales. This is graft. Literally, they're pushing their product to the largest network of people they can. That's how this works.
Right.
Ain't no little book company doing nothing.
Right.
There was more like that back then. There were multiple. Remember, books were different back then. So when she wrote her book, yes, she might have got a big contract. But even then, if she got in the 80s, the book publishing was dying then. That would have been, you know what I mean? So now it's even more so that, you get paid with books before you even sell a book. Because you get advance money. Obama got advance money. Michelle got advance money. Oprah get advance money. Before the book even sell a copy, she's got paid. They get contracted, boom, boom, boom. So in other words, it's in the book, it's the book publisher's interest to push those books. That's why they put them at the front, because they put more money on these, so they're gonna put those out front.
Right.
They're gonna talk to their guy, the New York Times, review this, put this on the chart, just make any type of bestseller.
So the onus is on the salespeople and the marketing staff.
The marketing,
yeah,
it's marketing. The marketing get it in where it's supposed to be. You have to get to the dumb public who's gonna buy whatever we tell them about.
Right, and just put it on the shelf.
Exactly. You think people reading Obama's books and Michelle Obama? What are you reading them books for? Well, Michelle Obama's new book is really short, so you might read that one.
Right.
I read it. It's kind of short and silly. It's short. Negro. It's a Negro. It's an Afro-Saxon book, so you know what it is. It's short and silly.
Right.
But you might read those. Right. But they're short and easy to get. But,
and you also, if you get them in the libraries, that's awful. Yeah,
because you can. Yeah, because now if you got Negroes, then you got Negro school organizations choosing Negro books from their Negro brothers and sisters in the frat. Come on, it's a whole network. How you think you get them school books in there? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You must read this book this year.
It's on right. Here's the book list for this year, and
You go to
over
college.
the summer.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You gotta read each edition of Octavia Butler. Of course, we got a contract with the people, the publishers.
Wow.
Well, she's our fastest. Like, oh my God, these tethers, these networks within networks you're dealing with when it comes to this money. That's why you always follow the money. You can't follow. Ain't nothing else for you to follow. You got to. A lot of these other places might be dead ends, but the money is never going to have a dead end.
That's deep. That is really, really deep.
All right. But that's how book sales go. But as far as her, of course, they go back in time and he gets to be a slave master and he gets left behind.
Oh, he gets left behind.
Yeah.
Because white people really love that.
I know that because, he has to get left behind. Because remember, time is different back then. So a week there is only like 30 seconds in the present. All right. So such and such. So he get left behind. And they don't show you what happened, but I know what happened. He get left behind and did turn white and become a slave owner and start taking on a day because he's going to fit in where he's going, get in where he fit in.
Exactly.
So I'm saying,
he gets to get rid of his white guilt.
Exactly. I know where it's going to go. All right. This 12 years a slave. He's going to be the one. Come on.
12 years, a lifetime a slave owner.
Right, yeah, exactly. No, but he's going to be the white boy, the white liberal slave owner or whatever, like the Brad Pitt role. He'll evolve to that.
Yeah. My master's a better master than yours.
Yeah. So it's just nonsense, man. I mean, I can get into more about the storyline, but if you want to watch it, you can figure it out. Suffice to say, magical Negroes have to go back and save the white boy. And
I'm with you, Sister Valerie and Sister Gwen, where I'm not watching that mess. I am not watching it. No, yeah. So they could keep it up, and I just know we have to build our own nation slowly, step by step. And even we're not going to be able to substitute for hella weirds productions. Nobody on the planet, no other country on the planet has been able to substitute. Everybody's worshiping these white people.
Oh, and funny
thing, but we do what we do.
And also, you got to check the reviews of it. Those would be funny too.
Oh my goodness.
Those would be funny too, because it's like, what?
There's absolutely nothing whatsoever wrong with this. It's just over the top. It is.
Yeah, they got some reviews there, but I read some other reviews from all reviewing people. It was like, oh, this is great. Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. Only one that panned out, I think Rolling Stone didn't really like it, but they said, but the chemistry between Kevin and Dana was beautiful. What? That's what they said, but the chemistry between the white boy and her, and Kevin and Dana, the white boy and her was the best part. Like, what chemistry?
Gets lost in another time travel tale that takes its sweet time. Yes, indeed. Exactly. It's all going because they love it. It's perfect. If it were actually something empowering for us in terms of family, in terms of our sense of self and our separate beautiful people, they would hate that.
I'm sure that the black writer reviewers are praising it too. Go to the griot, but look and see what the black writers say.
That's a good idea.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's a chance for them to make some money. If they hire writers, they might be hiring writers over there. So that production company might be hiring writers. Give them a thumbs up. Give me a job.
Unnerving. Delivers on its promise. There you go. Oh no, that's The Guardian. I wanted the griot, I suppose, wouldn't come up even though.
No, that's Kindred. That's the movie.
Oh, okay.
I think that's the movie. I said horror.
No, this is The Guardian. I'm looking for.
No, there's a Kindred movie out too, so you gotta be careful.
Oh, okay.
And one is the sci-fi novel. So.
Okay, but I'm just looking for the griot.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let's just put down the griot and then just put in their search link. What? Okay. Wow, the griot doesn't even come up. Okay, I'm trying to get rid of that. Okay, there we go. Let's see. Oh, there I have the griot. Griot, and it's
if they even covered it.
There it is. Okay.
Entertainment.
Search.
This Negro, Hakeem Jeffries. Oh boy.
Oh, don't even. Okay.
Save me from first Negroes. That's all I gotta tell you. You see first Negro, first black anything, run the other way.
Right?
Just run. Because that shit don't mean you no good. As soon as they say it.
Okay. Let's see if they said anything. Viewers get a glimpse of what to expect. Let's stop that right there. Um,
Them lazy niggas
Okay,
ain't.
they
They
ain't
probably
saying
even. They
anything.
probably ain't review it. They talking about the trailer.
Yeah, they talking about
They
the
so lazy.
trailer.
They didn't even review it. What's going on there?
Okay. All right. Well, let me greet your family, and then we can get on up out of here.
It's not a lot of reviews on that show, believe it or not, which I thought was very interesting. You think black folks would be all over it?
Yeah, but you
But
know
they're not
what?
a lot of reviews on that.
I think a lot of us aren't even watching
just
this
tired of
stuff
that. It's
anymore.
just so much
It's
crap they run down here.
slavery move. Oh, it's another slave thing.
Yeah,
We're
exactly.
not interested. It's the white people watching it.
Mhm.
Okay, so peace, beloved brother Langston D. Johnson. Thank you very much. And Sister Daphne Quinn, it's good to see you again. Yes, they got rid of my old big channel. So yeah, everybody was sub there. It's not that you were removed, but they got rid of the whole thing. And Sister Gwen D, how you doing, Queen? And Africa and Celestia Days, always keeping me informed, Queen. And Brother Nano John, it's good to see you, brother. And General Mosquito, peace and blessings to you too. And Jet Black and Dark Blue, I love that. And Sister Drea Lay, you saw this. I hadn't heard of it before, nor had I read the book. Oh boy, yeah. And Lightning Bolt, whoever this guy is that's oh, please stop it. You need to just go. I don't mind you being here, but you ain't got nothing to say. You must be a white person or white loving. And let's see, who else is there? Elle's mom, how you doing, Queen? And of course, my sister Valerie Clark. I love you, Queen. I surely do. You and all the Rugrats who are no longer rats, they're giant friggin' grown-ups. And that's it. Okay. All right. We have said all that we need to say. Thank you so much, family, for joining us, because these things need to be examined as they keep shoving them down our throats. And just to end it out, I'm going to take you to the site that it's just gonna, we're there for you. And this, I hate to say it will cure you, but genuinely it really will. It'll take you to a place that's a heck of a lot better than what you are experiencing under the tutelage of these devils. So 25,000 year cycle, we're for real. I know you and all of us have been just indoctrinated into believing if it's not coming from the white folks, it can't be real. This is more real than anything you will find coming from them folks. And our wonderful black healers, there's so many of them. My king is just one of them. But I am saying, in terms of understanding radiation, this is the spot to go, because that is a reality. And I wish others would examine it, who are learned healers, who are black, of course, but no one is. And so this is something that my king has a massive understanding of, because he's been living with me for over a decade. And he understands what I'm talking about, where he's put out information just on his own, not because this brother, he rules himself, right? He don't kowtow to me in any way, shape, or form, and I love him for that. But I'll just hear him say, brother, it's all one ocean, right? So this site right here is unprecedented. It's unprecedented on the planet. You need what we have here. And just because both of us, neither one of us suffer from all these afflictions that people just take as part of their, inevitable outcome. No, you black. You are healable. You are repairable. You are ever strengthening with the right habits and knowledge, so you can put those habits into a benefit for you and your family. So here at 25,000 Year Cycle, you'll read about our rights as Aboriginal people, and you can shop for what's going to clean out your whole colon so you could absorb more nutrition as you make those steps towards taking in better food. And there are, on my King's blog, there are food lists of what you could eat, not determined by white naturopathic physicians. Good for them. I'm glad they're doing their best. But they don't talk about Black us. We do. We do. So the foods that will assist your melanin, and then the ones that will hold it up. Okay? That's all up on here. And then Ajali Shabazz, where you go right now. Right now. There's no excuses. Our literature is pro-Black. My literature is pro-Black. We also have Brother Yapo Yapa, who wrote a book, Melanin, which is amazing. And his queen, Sister Angela Riley. I support those of Black us who are about our healing. Sister Gwen B has given witness that that doesn't happen in very many places. As much as I do love Sister Octavia Butler. I'm sorry that she was deluded by these people in any regard. I have high respect for anybody who could sit down and write books. That is some serious work, right? But she didn't write books like Brother Yapo Yapa, Sister Angela Riley, and myself, right? So you could come on over here to 25,000 Year Cycle, buy all my books. That should just be what you do, okay? All right. I love your family. There's no doubt. My king loves you, all right? He ain't one of the people who are going to be all gushy about that sort of thing. You're going to know that by his actions. And his actions are 100% about us getting the hell out of hell, okay? All right. Peace and blessings, everybody. Straight Black family pride.